Hey everyone, Maury Curtis Dunbar here. It is a gorgeous Tuesday. Well, I shouldn't say gorgeous. Weather's been back and forth. We've had some of the tropical storms sliding through here that the folks in Florida have been dealing with. But because we have so much weird weather, I'm inside working on finishes for clients. Now you can see I got a small board mounted on my easel. We're gonna be working on 4 different samples today. Why? Because I need to get them together for my client who I'm seeing tomorrow, because we're finally gonna do something about this mess here. Yay! So, I have 4 different samples set up there. Let me pull my piece of granite, and I will be walking back and forth in front of the camera today. It's unavoidable with what we're doing. So this is the salon that well, this isn't the salon. The salon where I do my hair. New owners bought the place in January, and oh, Renee, thank you. Hey, Pat, nice to see you too. All right, so this is the countertop, the granite that they're using for their salon register. They're kind of redoing and want some new looks for it. So I said, hey, sure, I'll do that. Well, that was before lockdown. Everything got put away. I kind of forgot about it all. So we're gonna go work on that as a project now. The whole place is super urban, very contemporary, almost raw looking. So we're working with a lot of whitewashed brick, a lot of black, white, and gray, very contemporary. So we're gonna make finishes for this counter their area that's going to kind of work with that idea. Now, they may not like any of these. They gave me the sample, said, hey, have some fun, see what you come up with. So for tomorrow, I'm coming up with some fun. And we're gonna do a couple finishes with foil, we'll do a couple finishes with plaster. We'll see what I come up with, who knows. All right, so we're using some black foil. On here, we have Faux Effects Set Coat Metallic Black, because I didn't have any charcoal gray. That's what I needed. So this is as close as I have. And then we've rolled on our Artsyville foil adhesive. 100% coverage on the surface, so we're gonna create some texture here. Now this isn't gonna show like much on the camera because it's black on dark gray, but I guarantee you, I took a lot off. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some pewter. I'm gonna do that. By the way, it's hot as hell in here right now because we've had the hot box going. It's 90 degrees out and 99% humidity. So if I schwitz a little, you're gonna have to live with me. This is pewter again. Kind of creating. And when you're doing samples, if you're not used to doing these, always make sure you get to your edge. You don't want to have like a ring around your board where your finish is all in the center and you've done nothing to the sides. And I suppose I should, let me explain something for people who don't do samples. Samples, I've been a decorative finisher for 30 years now. Samples are what we do in the decorative finishing industry to create presentations for our customers so they can get an idea. We create samples, they choose one, or they look at it and say, no, we need to tweak it. This is what keeps us from screwing up on clients' walls or installations and stuff like that. Now, I'm only sharing this for people who are not familiar with why we do sample boards. These are polystyrene boards. Some of them are older, a little heavier, some of them are newer, thinner. I carry polystyrene boards so you can buy them from me, but I cut mine in half for furniture samples simply because I'm not doing whole walls, so I don't need as big a surface for my samples as I do when I was doing wall finishes. All right, so that one was gunmetal, so we'll do a little pewter on here now. And you know, on the days when I was doing big jobs all the time, I could have 20 samples floating around in my studio halfway through. No exaggeration. I'd use 3 hollow core doors for my easel in my studio. You might remember that, which meant I could run 6 samples up on the wall at a time. And then I'd take those 6 down, work on another 6. I'm really good at making samples in bulk. Not always great samples, but I'm really good at making them in bulk. All right, so this is my pewter foil. And again, same thing that I did before. And let me zoom in to see if I can getting a nice, really intense, glittery pattern. I'm hoping that'll focus well for you. Sorry for the, but this has got a nice glittery pattern going, but not overwhelming, because again, this is urban and industrial. We don't want to go too out there with it. And I've put a lot of color on here. Now, I could put more color on. I could go a little brighter with some more silver. I may do that just to punch it in, and then we're gonna have to pick a background color. Or if they like it like this, I may take a piece of tape, run it across, or only foil it full in back on one to see which they choose. You know, even with one sample board, I sometimes give 2 options. And you'll see how we do that on other boards as well. Okay. A little bit of silver there. So this is really, really sharp, but I have a feeling may not be enough contrast right here with this board. So let me zoom back in, or back out. All right, so I don't think this is going to be contrasty enough. I've almost got it identical to it right now. Wasn't what I tried for, but good to know I could do that. Sometimes I get almost identical matches without even trying, because I'm working within a specific color family. Now I have this gorgeous carbon fiber finish in pewter, and I think I'm going to use that to at least fill in part of the background. Let's pull that out. All right, so what I'm going to do here, let's make sure I got a nice straight line, and I'm going to backfill half of it. Why? Because I want to show my client, and I'll put a top coat over this, but I want to show my client a couple of options with this. So where did I put my scrubber? I knew I was going to forget something. 1 second. This, and these little bubbles that show up here are usually because I have a flaw on the surface, and trust me, there's always something that's floating around in the studio. I always end up with a chunk of something on my finish, so I kind of want to go back in with my fingers. I'm going to go all the way up to this edge, because right now I do absolutely want to seem good. That's releasing nicely. So now I'm showing him 2 options. One where it is dimly pewter, but has lots of nice texture to it. So I'm going to come back in here and just make sure I got all that. And the other one is darker. And honestly, if he likes this one, I could even go with a lighter background. So I have lots of options here. And this is what happens. I do charge my clients for samples. I'm not doing it for this one just because it's an old friend. And it gives me a chance to give you all an idea of how we go about sample making. So I'm very pleased with that one. And all I'm going to do to seal it up, and hang on a second, I know I have an open door here somewhere. I always have containers floating around the studio, and I just take a container that I've already gotten some. I do this with Varnish Plus, it's already thinned down. Just like I always have a little jar of foil adhesive rolling around, I always have jars of Varnish Plus that I've appropriately thinned. And I'm going to take this and I'm brushing it on the surface. And I'll set it aside to dry by tomorrow morning, or actually in a few minutes. It'll be dry enough. We're probably going to do a couple lives today as I go back and forth and work these finishes. So this will not be the last time, or the only time you see me today. Let me go put this on the drying rack. All right, so now we have, coming back through again, another sample board. Again, about the same size. This one also has foil adhesive on it because I have a different idea going. All right. You can see I try to reuse my tape if it's viable, just because I can. All right. So this one, we have a different one, and I can't remember the name that it's called. Black Cloud. There's some other name to this, and it's just, this is clouds and silver. And I don't remember the full name. I'll have to look it up in between, and I'll tell you all again later. I'm just totally done blanking. My assistant who labeled it didn't label it correctly because I know it's not right. How do I know? Because I've looked at it. I'm the one who puts all this stuff on the website. So I know it's not quite right. I just don't remember what it is because I can't remember everything, no matter how hard I try. All right, so we're going to put this on here. Smoothing it down. I love this foil. It's a great looking foil. Now, on its own, again, this would be a terrific finish, but that's not what he's sure he wants. I did show him pictures that want some other options, but he does like this. So I'm kind of giving him an option that includes this, but is not alone on this. So I'm going through here with my fingers. I'm looking at the bubbles, making sure I push them down, because wherever there's a bubble, there's some foil to be released. Sometimes pushing those bubbles actually helps release all the other foil really well. Okay, so we have a nice release on there. Look at how beautiful that is. But that's not all I want to do. So, I've got this stencil. Make sure I got the right side here. Using this stencil from Wallovers. And I put a little bit of spray adhesive. Now this is a very thin stencil, so this is not going to require me to do a lot to put product through here. I can put through plaster for thickness and texture. Oh, Terry, can you get that foil? From me. It's on our website, paintedstudio.com. And when I finish this live and review this, I will link directly to your question to this foil. Hi, Barb. Hey, Renee. Oh, gosh, Annette. Oh, gosh, all of you are here. Thank you so much for coming in. So I have the option of doing something like I can put plaster through this, or I can put a grit texture through this. So I'm going to put a piece of tape across the center. Again, I do this a lot with my finishes so that I can work out more than one idea at a time. Because I have two ideas of the way I want this wood to go. Well, I don't remember which one I'm going to be happy with, so I'm doing this. Why am I doing that? Because now I can work two products through here. So first one is going to be Venetian Gem. This is our Venetian Gem. This is black onyx, and I can simply trowel that over our surface. Again, I'm walking around back and forth, and I'm sorry, I'm schlumping a little bit. My back is bugging me a little today. It's the constant change of weather, so I get very stiff. So the first thing I'm going to do is this. I'm just simply going to trowel Venetian Gem from Faux Effects Onyx through my stencil. And I'm troweling it tight because I want it as smooth as possible. By the way, if you're not comfortable troweling, sample boards are a great place to practice that too. I didn't get good with troweling on a job site. I got good at troweling because I did a lot of samples, practiced. Okay, so there's that done on that. The other thing, if I can find my can, because of course nothing's ever where I expect it to be. That's maybe. Well, the product I thought I had, I don't have. And of course now I can't find what I wanted right there. Here we go. Here we go, I knew I could find it. We're gonna use a little Galaxy Stone. That's another Faux Effects product that I carry. Super cool, gritty, killer texture. I thought I had a can of it already opened in charcoal, but it would appear I don't. So I'm going to take my can here, and this is tint base, so it's kind of oatmeal color. And let's see. I know I'm like out of the camera range all the time right now, but I'm trying to do this and show you what I'm doing. But everything's everywhere. So when you first get Galaxy Stone, it's very liquid. Right now it's been in this can. I've had my can for a while, and I didn't put press and seal or anything down to the surface, so it's a little on the pasty side, but that'll work for me. So let me hang on just a sec. Oh, sorry, I'm tripping on chairs and everything today. So to this, since I don't have the gravel gray here, I'm adding a couple of drops. I would be if I hadn't let the tip get clogged up. Just a little bit of faux cream color in black. Again, Faux Effects product. Faux cream color. Gosh, I can get it turned so you can see it. Faux cream color in black. So I need a stir stick. With the camera vertically, it sort of narrows me in my range of where I can go and you can see me, unfortunately. Or fortunately, maybe you don't want to see me that much and just like staring at the board. So I've got it like that color right now. I want a little deeper. There, I finally got a little hole in there. And this will dry very true to the color that I mix it to. So it's going to dry very similar to this. Let's see. Now, normally I have a wet towel to clear this off, so hang on. You are getting me in the walking aroundest video ever today. So I've got that color mixed up. Now, if I could thin this down easily with water, make it a more paint consistency. But for this job, the fact that this thickened up a little bit on me, this Galaxy Stone thickened up, it'll work perfectly. Because now I can trowel it through. And this just happens naturally with the product. I mean, I've been using it forever. I could have just as comfortably and happily, if this was more liquid, rolled it on through. Just smoothing it across the stencil, trying for some good opacity. Now the nice thing with Galaxy Stone is it dries hard. Hard. All right, so we're gonna pull this down. And as you can see, we've got two options now, and they are both sharp as can be. And, you know, again, if I wanted to, I could put more layers over it, more colors, but that's not an appropriate look for the salon. The look is urban and industrial, so we're keeping it within that family. All the patterns I'll pick will be graphic. All the colors I'm picking will be blacks and grays and silvers. So we're gonna put that into dry. Okay, so we got one more board coming up here. I've got one more idea, but it's not completely gelled, so it may have to wait until later today for me to work on it a little bit. I have an extra board, but these are the three that I started with. All right. Yeah, I don't want to use that tape. It's getting dirty. It's going to make a mess of things. Let's get a little fresh tape on there. So we got two clean, fresh spots. Maybe painting with this big ring on my finger isn't always the best idea. But it was it's an awesome mermaid ring that my aunt made when I was a kid. And her family gave it to me, and I love this. My Aunt Ellie, the inspiration for me to become an artist. Okay, so this one, we're just going to go move some things out of the way. More bins of stuff. Hang. Still need one more cup. Jeez, please, I'm sorry, everybody. This is one of those days with heat and jumping around and trying to keep stuff straight in my head, and it's not always 100% remembering everything. Okay, so I am putting some Venetian gem onyx into my cup, but because that countertop is so dark, I don't want just a dark, dark, dark counter. Let's get this here, Venetian gem, that's the wrong one. Okay, that's not it either. Here we go. Venetian gem moonstone. Now moonstone is gray, but it's kind of a beigey gray, so you have to watch out for it. It is absolutely not a cool gray. It's got a lot of warmth, a little bit of green to it. So I don't want to put it over any of our cooler silver colors. However, if I'm not happy, if I think this comes out too warm, and you can see I'm mixing it together. If I thought this came out too warm, I'd put a drop or two of blue in it to cool it. Used to do a little color theory teaching back in college. So just to cool out this gray would help if I put a little blue in it. But fortunately, we're a good color right now, so it didn't get too warm. Alrighty. I think, again, I'm going to put a piece of tape across the center. Why? Because I got another idea that I'm sort of working through. And this one is simply the choice of texture. There's that. Let's rub that down, make sure I got it burnished, because I didn't. There's going to be big bubbles, and then I would have bled, and oh, it would have been so disappointing. All right, so we're going to trowel all of this on. And you see, I am going right over the tape because as long as I can see where it is, I know where to stop my two levels two different plans that I've got going on here. And really, plans are just simply texture. I'm working two different background textures on this. So I've got this smoothed out. Every little spot, so I make sure it's clean and clear and done. And okay, I've got my handle. So again, I said we are working in an urban graphic, very, do I carry the set coat that you based with? Yes, I do. I carry set coat in many colors, and if I don't have it, I will get it. All right, so I have these wonderful rollers that were, sorry, I am sweating like crazy because it's so warm in here and it's very humid. And this is one of the rollers, and I don't remember what this one's called. So we're just gonna play with it this way. And it makes a cool pattern, but then I can also come across it and go back this way. And just leave a little bit, because I don't want it to take over the whole thing. Now my next choice is something a little different. And I went through all of my rollers, so I made sure to choose. This one I know is my Modern Weave roller, which makes a killer texture, both just like this, but I like it when I roll it across because it gives a really nice woven pattern that's a little erratic, although I did it so badly there, it's so crooked. And the reason I'm using Venetian gem is A, I can sand it smooth, B, it does not crack, and C, it comes in a lot of colors and it holds its shape really well when you run a texture through it, like a roller like this. So I've got a couple really nice textures. This is almost alligator skinish, but not quite. And if I want it to be tighter textures, I just come back in. Again, not the direction I was going, but not a bad direction. And you see my Venetian gem has plenty of time to work. And then I'll just pull it back across. And it makes beautiful textures. So we're gonna let those dry. And that is just our 101 for today. And I will be back, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes. I've got to let this stuff dry. I got to work out the last board in my head because the idea I had just sort of disappeared, and I'll be back. Thanks for coming in.